This is how hot it gets on Davi Davenport Live. You know, I started that. I'm out here with Don Juan from the lipstick to the pulpit. Davi Davenport Live right here. And guess what? Nobody loves you more than I do.
It's time for the Davi Davenport Live. Davi Davenport Live Show. Davi. She's live. It's a party on the couch. It's time for the Davi Davenport Live. Davi Davenport Live Show. Davi Davenport Live.
Hey guys, oh my God, I'm super excited. Let me get everything together here so we can have a good time together. I love you guys so much. You know, today's show is very special to me. Today's show is about my story of survival. 1 year ago, I had to make a decision that would change everything about my life. I had to move across country, but I didn't just move across country. I moved across country because I was given a doom and gloom diagnosis. Now, because this wasn't new to me and I had experienced something like this 23 years ago, I realized that, you know, no matter what, I knew that I could fight my way through this. But what this year has shown me is what matters, you know, who matters, what's important. It's not about success or accomplishments. And of course, those things are great. But life's about purpose and the people that you love and the things that bring you strength. It makes you discover that when you think that you have nothing left, you have the will to fight. And that's what Davi Davenport Live is about. You know, some people think Davi Davenport Live just started. Someone said, oh, it's a brand new show. Davi Davenport Live has been around for 20 plus years. And I'm super excited that you guys are joining me here this evening. Thank you so much. I love you. What you're seeing now is a new chapter in my life. A deeper chapter. And I want to say a huge thank you to my brother Farley for the new music. I appreciate you. I was trying to get my little thing together right there. Bear with me. But what I enjoy sharing are powerful stories, things that are about the human spirit and what makes people tick. You know, what about when you have to walk through the fire and you still have to find a way to rise? What about when you need to make sure that you're tapped into your faith? We also talk about reinvention here and extraordinary stories and extraordinary people. Now, just recently over the last few weeks, I had three people that I think are absolutely amazing that joined me on the show. I had my dear friend, Donald Hamilton, who's a heart transplant recipient who was on the show. And Donald talked about resilience at its finest. He talked about what it meant to stand tall no matter what was going on in your life. And he also introduced me to the transplant community, and to anyone that's watching from the transplant community, this is the time that I want to say that this is, and sorry about that. One of my friends was like, you're on. This is the time that we absolutely show resilience. We also had my dear friend Deborah Vines on. Deborah Vines is the CEO and founder of The Answer Inc. And she talked about devoting her life to the world of autism when her son was diagnosed with autism. I also had a chance to visit Dunbar High School. And when I went over to Dunbar, my dear friend Thaisa Walton has Chloe's Closet there. And when I tell you that it showed me something about exactly what being or standing in the gap with people that you don't know, young people that she's never met, that she's standing in the gap with. So Thaisa's doing a great thing with Chloe's Closet. She has a store where everything is free. So today, guys, we're going to talk about transformation, things that we learn along the journey in our lives. And that's exactly, and what makes us stronger no matter what. I definitely am going to talk to you about the reinvention of my life, how this whole story started. It didn't just start when I was diagnosed with lung cancer. It started before that. So I'm going to talk to you about where this story all began. So stay tuned, guys. I love you so much. You mean the world to me. Let's get started. So first of all, I want to thank all of you that have joined me tonight. I want to thank you all. I know that there's so many people that are on, that are tapping in. I want to also say, for the person that shares this stream the most, I have a Davi Davenport live t-shirt for you. So start telling your friends to join the live broadcast today. This is going to be something that I hope that will inspire you. I hope that will do what it's doing for me to sit here to talk to you today. And really, this is just a conversation. I feel like I'm having a conversation with just one person, because that's what this means to me. Let me make sure that I can get my chat set up, because I want to be able to talk to you guys as well. Let's go to people. So just in case we want to have a conversation here. Today, I'm going to share with you how all this started. Prior to February the 5th, 2025, I was living in Los Angeles. I had been there for 16 years. And for me, I was living my best life. I was enjoying myself. I was having a great time. And we have comments coming in already, guys. I love you. Yes, yes, yes. Hello, Margaret. I love you. Please share. Pat McGee, I love you so much. Thank you, guys. Please share this live broadcast. Again, I have a t-shirt that I'm going to give out for the person that shares this the most. I'm going to be upside down here mailing this out to you right away to get this back. We also have mugs, Davi Davenport Live mugs, that I'll be getting out for people that are there. But thank you so much. So living in Los Angeles, 16 years, enjoying myself, having a great time. Most of you know I'm in the real estate industry. I also want to share this show today is being dedicated to one of my very close friends. I'm going to give you her initials. They're DM. So I'm not going to say her full name right now because she is in the midst of her fight. But I told her, she recently I said to us and a group of us that the doctor said the cancer is back. And what I said to her is what two dear friends said to me. And they said, that's Larry and Louisa, that's what the doctor said. And doctors are very smart. Of course they are. They have a ton of knowledge, but we have to stand down on our faith. So 16 years in LA, living my best life in the real estate industry, hanging out with my business partner, Sean Kilman, doing great things. But the market was starting to soften. I'm going to be honest with you guys. So I'm talking to you about my real story. The market was starting to soften. I noticed that things were different. And I decided that, maybe it was time for a change. So this was even before all of this started. I realized that maybe this was time for a change. Maybe there was time to do something new. Fast forward to January of 2025, California had some historic fires. There were some historic fires that went on. So many people lost their property. Some people lost their lives, their loved ones. And to everyone right there that's out, we know that the world, I just want to add this because this show is also dedicated to people that are being affected by all that's going on with this war right now. There's so much loss going on. So I want to also dedicate this show to that as well. My unwavering prayers are going out. So I knew that something had to give. And then we had the fires in Los Angeles. Fires in Los Angeles, I already had a lot on my mind. I had been living on the beach for quite some time, walking the beach every day, ton on my mind, interacting with my family, just, really figuring out what should I do. I was talking to my son, my father, my uncle, my cousins, and all my friends and saying, I'm thinking about making a move. I didn't know where there was going to be Las Vegas, or I thought about New York for a little bit, but I knew that something was different. And of course, I always knew that I had home. I always knew that home was a place, because as they say, home is where the heart is. And at that time, I felt like California was my home. And so we have the fires in January. I put all my things in storage. And I decide, so before I put my things in storage, right as the fires happened, there was actual dust coming from, or debris coming from, the ash coming from the sky that seemed like a blizzard. When you come outside your house, there was ash everywhere. There was ash all on my car. And so I couldn't quite get my breath. Hey, Trish, how are you? Hello, hello. Hey, Earl. Couldn't quite get my breath, right? Didn't know what was going on. I thought it was from the ash falling from the sky. So I had no idea what was happening, but I knew that I felt terrible. And I called a friend of mine, and my friend Amber, and I called her and I said, you know what? I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here to maybe come out to Vegas for a bit. She has a home out in Vegas. And I said, I might need to come out there. One of my girlfriends, Queen, said, Davi, while you're figuring out what you want to do, and a shout out to Queen and her sister, said, you know, if you need to, my sister owns a hotel. You can go down to the hotel. It's a further away from the fires than you are right now. And maybe this will help you. And so I was allowed, they gave me the opportunity to go to their hotel for 2 weeks to try to figure out what I was going to do. But to be honest with you, the fires were so intense. My chest was in so much pain. I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was solely from the fires. I found out later that it was something different, but I stayed there. I could not stay for 14 days. There was no way that I was able to stay for 14 days. I had to pack my dogs up, Basquiat and Duchess, put my things in the back of my car, put everything that I had in storage, and I drove to Las Vegas. I get to Las Vegas and, you know, I'm there and I'm so grateful for my friend opening her home. I'm also, to be honest with you, my heart is hurting a bit because California does mean so much to me, and to all my family, my California family. I love you for all the support that you gave me and that you've always given me. But I was disappointed, you know, the fact that I had to do something different. But I also, because I'm the kind of person that embraces change, and everybody that knows me, they say Davi can reinvent herself 1,000 times, no matter what. So I also am a person that embraces change. So as I got to Las Vegas, I noticed that something was different. Couldn't quite figure out what it was. You know, we have to follow, you guys like the mood I have in the back. We have to follow our hearts and we have to listen to our bodies. So I did know something. I was trying to get myself actively involved. My friends out there were introducing me to people. My friend, Dr. B, was trying to take me out. He said, everybody needs to meet Davi, you know, once they know you're here. And I was really excited about that and so grateful. But I couldn't quite figure out what was wrong. One day I had to rush myself to the hospital because I couldn't breathe. I thought it was the flu. There was a big bug that was going on around that time. So I thought that this was that bug. Rushed myself to the hospital. They gave me antibiotics. It's crazy because they didn't do it was one of those urgent cares. They didn't do a lot of extensive checking me out or anything. They kind of got me in and got me out. And that's why I say that we really have to make sure that we advocate for ourselves and that we listen to our bodies, because I still knew that something was wrong. I still knew that there was a problem. I felt like something was happening in my life. So fast forward, I'm still trying. So now I'm in the bed. My friend that I'm staying with, she and her friends are taking care of me and helping to take care of my dog because I still thought I had a really bad bug or it was the flu or something. I rushed myself to the hospital again. They send me home again. Fast forward to 2 weeks later, which was February the 5th. I was trying to walk my dogs, Basquiat and Duchess. And by the time I got to the bottom of her driveway, I passed out. I pulled myself together. I realized something was happening. I pulled myself together. I always have my phone in my hand, guys. I use my phone as a life alert. Even if I get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, I have my phone with me. I know that sounds crazy, but I do. Especially being a woman, a 60-year-old woman, especially that being my story. You know, there was a time where I wasn't even really comfortable. You know, I was always one that didn't really talk about the age thing, but I'm grateful. I'm in pure gratitude. I get to the end of the driveway. I pass out. I pull myself together to crawl to get through her front door. Thank God she had a door with a code on it. I pushed the code in. I got in the front door and I collapsed. I called 911 and said, listen, I'm a 60-year-old woman. I think I'm having a heart attack. Please help me. When the 911 operator, that was absolutely incredible, asked me, what is the address? What is the address where you are? I could not remember the address. I couldn't think of where I was. All I knew is that I didn't want to die. I knew that at that moment, I did not want to die. I needed help from someone. All along, guys, I thought that this was from the fires. I thought maybe that, you know, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So I thought, well, I'm not a smoker. I don't drink. I'm thinking I'm trying my best to live my best life. Was I Do I eat perfectly, or am I that perfect person? No, I'm working on a better dietary, eating better. I'll just say I'm working on eating better, but I just knew that this wasn't, what could be wrong? I make it to just get inside the house. I couldn't even get the leashes off my dogs. I couldn't make it to do that. I left the door cracked because I knew if the door is closed, I might not be able to open. I didn't want them to have to kick her door down. I was trying my best to think of what do I do right now? How do I make sure that I survive? You know how when you're in survival mode and you're thinking, what do I do? The greatest sound in the entire world was when I heard the sirens. When I heard the sirens coming, it makes me emotional thinking about it, because when I heard the sirens coming, I knew. And because I was already a survivor of cancer prior to, I didn't know what was going on, but I had a flash of thinking of my son in my head. And I said, dear God, please, I have my son. My son was 27 at the time. He's 28 now. And I thought, please, what is this? The greatest sound is when I heard the ambulance arrive, when I heard those sirens and I heard them come in the door, and I said, please help me. I can't breathe. Please help me. I cannot breathe. And when they said, ma'am, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And they immediately put an oxygen mask over my face. I was so scared, guys. I was so devastated. My heart was racing. All I knew was, am I going to be okay? They get me to the hospital, and I wanted to share my story, and I'm breaking down the details because so many of you have asked me. And this story is about not just what happened to me, but this story is also about how we persevere and push through things when something is happening. How I moved to Chicago and my family and my friends embrace me. They take me to the hospital. I'm there. I'm there by myself. My friend wasn't available. I get there. I'm petrified. By this time, they have oxygen on me. So I'm starting to feel like I felt like a truck had run over me, to be honest with you. I felt like a truck had completely run over me. I didn't know what's wrong. I all along thought it was this flu. I still thought it was that. I never thought it was a heart attack. I'd had a heart attack, and that's what it was. I never thought that this would be Davi Davenport's story, but I had a heart attack. And they kept me in, and I was there, and I said, when are you going to let me out? I've got my dogs at home. I have to get back to my friend's house. Nobody's there, please. And they said, ma'am, you won't be leaving here. So they took me to do various tests, and they put me, and I did chest x-rays and CT scans and all those things. And I remember dialing one of my friends, Deborah, because I knew her sister lived in Las Vegas. I said, Deborah, please help me. Please call your sister. Please call somebody. I'm here in the emergency room by myself. I'm scared. I'm scared. Please help me. I'm scared. Deborah called her sister, Cheryl, who didn't know me at all. She and her husband came to my bedside in the emergency room. They didn't know me. They brought me a blanket. They sat there with me. They made sure that I understood what was going on because my mind was all over the place at that point. Now, when we think about not knowing someone, not knowing a person and coming to their bedside, because again, this story is not just about what happened to me. It's about the people, the places, and the things that took place. It's about all of you. It's about all of you. I see Trish is on here. Trish and her family had my car shipped. They own a shipping company, and they shipped my car for me. It's about the people that stepped up and said, we're here with you, Davi. It's the phone calls. It's the prayers. It's the love. So they say, you're not leaving. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I got to get out of here. I'm still feeling like a truck had run over me. They said, we're going to be admitting you. I said, I'm hysterical. They said, ma'am, you got to calm down. You've got to calm down. You're very sick. They get me to the hospital. They get me into my room hours later. They gave me something to sedate me because I was petrified. They said, the doctors will come and see you tomorrow morning. I slept because they gave me whatever it was, knocked me out, but I needed something to help me at that point. When the doctors came in the next morning, they said, "We hate to tell you this, but you've had a heart attack, you have double pneumonia, and you have blood clots in your lungs." And I said, "No, it couldn't be. There's no way. This isn't my story. I just left LA. I was fine. I was fine. What do you mean? There's no way. This couldn't be my story." And they said, "Yes." I said, "How long will I be here?" They said, "Oh, we don't know." So now I'm devastated, guys. I'm devastated. I'm in Vegas. I'm by myself. My friend is a professional boxer, so she and her family are moving around, and she's traveling. They're trying to help me with my dogs. But now I've been given a diagnosis of a heart attack, blood clots, and double pneumonia. But that wasn't even the biggest part of it all. That wasn't even the most. That wasn't even the largest part of the story. And please share this for any of you that share this. Whoever shares this the most, I'm going to send you out a Davi Davenport Live t-shirt. I see I got a little blurry there. I'm going to send you out a Davi Davenport Live t-shirt. And yeah, just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all of you that are on here today. Thank you for standing by and being in my corner. I see that so many people are jumping on board, and I want to say thank you to everyone. And thank you to my social media family, and thank you to my church family, and thank you to everyone that stood by my side. The doctors come in and tell me the next day that not only had I had a heart attack, not only did I have blood clots, not only did I have double pneumonia, but that they saw a large mass on my left lung. They asked me, did I know that it was there? And I said, of course not. I'm still weak. Now my mind's racing. Now my mind's all over the place. The thing of it is that I have a personal relationship with God. So yes, am I human? Was I feeling fearful? Was I feeling scared? To be honest with you, I was asking God to forgive me for feeling scared, and asking God to forgive me for the emotions that I was having. But this is what was going on. And they said, well, you have a mass on your left lung, and once we get you stable enough, will you allow us to do a biopsy on that mass? And I said, of course I will. And these are a lot of details, but this is why I waited a year. Today makes 1 year to the day that I moved back to Chicago to fight for my life. And what's crazy is that I made a bunch of cue cards and everything, right? And I haven't even looked at any of them because the story is deeply embedded in my life. I sat last night and I went over and did cards and all kind of things, because I was like, I want to make sure that I share everything. They asked me, could they do the biopsy? Fast forward from February 5th to February 15th, when they did the biopsy on February 10th. So fast forward from February 5th to February 10th, it was a blur. It was a complete blur. I was out of it most of the time. I didn't know what was going on. I was scared. Didn't want to call my son. My son was traveling with his girlfriend. I didn't want to call and tell him what had happened yet, although I knew that I had to call him and tell him, but I didn't want to yet. He had already been through so much. We've been through losing my mother when he was young and losing my grandmother just years before that. He had been through so much, so I didn't want to. I called my uncle. Jay, and I said, Jay, they say I've had a heart attack. I have double pneumonia and I have blood clots in my lungs, but they've also found a mass on my left lung that they don't know what it is yet. And so he said, well, don't worry about it. He calls me Nisi Weesey. He said, Nisi Weesey, don't worry about it. He said, whatever it is, we're going to find out. You've been through more than this. He was talking about my rectal cancer when I was diagnosed with rectal cancer December 3rd, 2002, and given 6 months to live, under 100 pounds, blood coming out of everything. That was the time that God said to me, he didn't want my life. He wanted my testimony. He wanted me to be a person to be out in the trenches for him. And that was something that he wanted. And so I gravitated toward that. With everything in my life, I always gravitate toward that. I gravitate toward when he said that to me. I gravitate toward what my life has been like. I gravitate toward when the market crashed and we went from doing fantastic to losing just about everything. I gravitate toward how he carried me and what that meant for me. February 15th, the doctors walk in my room and they tell me, and one of the nurses who had been interacting with me since February 5th, she had tears in her eyes almost. And I couldn't understand what could be going on? You know, I was praying for people in the hospital, which I always do. I was doing all that February 15th. She walks in with almost tears in her eyes and she says, the doctors are here to see you. They want to talk to you. And I go, okay, bring them in. You know, what's going on? The doctors come in, they're a team of them. And one of the doctors who had been seeing me regularly, who said, and again, make sure that you're your number one advocate, because no matter what, I started doing research on what was going on with the blood clots, this heart attack, they said, double pneumonia. I started looking up things online. Everyone that loved me started looking up things online. And so it was really me checking on. My uncle was doing all kind of research. He was just researching what was happening with me. And then I did notify my son. I did call my son. He said, oh, Mom, we're going to get through this, whatever it is. I called my brother. My brother said, hey, we got this, sis. You know, I called my father. My father's no longer with me during this year journey. We lost my father. I called my dad. My dad said, hey, we're going to pray. I've got messages from him now that I listened to of him praying for me. Well, when the doctors walked in on February 15th, guys, and I feel like it's just us. Let me take a sip of water because little Davi Davenport live mug here. I'm going to send you guys one of these. When the doctors walked in February 15th, one of the doctors said, we're so sorry to tell you, but you have spindle cell carcinoma. You have lung cancer. And I said, no, not talking to me. And because all I kept thinking was what God had told me December 3rd, 2002, that he didn't want my life, that wasn't my story. I knew that wasn't it. And they said, no. And I said, well, tell me what it is and what we do and how I get through this. You know, but mind you, I'm petrified now. Now I start screaming. I start trembling. I start calling out God. I said, while the doctors were there, I said, God, you promised me that this wouldn't be my story. You promised me that you didn't want my life. Help me, please. I was so upset that they had to sedate me because I just had this heart attack, guys. Remember that. So they had to sedate me. My dog is nervous. There's a big storm in Chicago today, so it's lightning and everything. So I wake up the next morning. I'm thinking maybe I had a nightmare. Maybe this was a nightmare. Maybe this was something that I imagined. Maybe this was just a horrible, horrible dream. The nurse came in, the one I had been interacting with. I said, was I dreaming? Or did the doctors come in yesterday and tell me that I had lung cancer? And she said, no, you weren't dreaming. The doctors did come in and say that. They want to come back and see you today. So they came back that day and said, yep, spindle cell carcinoma, rare cancer. There's not a lot of case studies on it. It's very aggressive. I said, well, what am I doing? Chemo, radiation. So now I'm knowing, because I'm in Vegas. And now I call my son, and my son's still traveling. And I say, Miles, they said that I have lung cancer. He breaks down and he says, Mom, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. I call my uncle. I call my father. I call my brother. And I tell them, the doctors say I have lung cancer and it's very aggressive. I kept on gravitating toward my faith because that's exactly what I have. I have my faith. I have God. No matter what, I have God. The most important thing in my life is my personal relationship with the Lord. So I knew then that I had to have a conversation with God about this. I knew then I had to see what this meant in a conversation that only he could do. Only conversation I could only have with him. And thank you for everyone that's joining tonight. I appreciate you all. So many of you are on the live tonight. Thank you. Thank you so much. When they told me about the spindle cell carcinoma, of course, we're all Google doctors and Chat GPT doctors. So I went to Google and I went to Chat and I started doing my research. And boy, oh boy, did I see some horror stories on there about what I had been diagnosed with. Doom and gloom, no cure, not that many the doctors, it was rare, it was aggressive, basically pack your bags again, it's over. But I knew that wasn't going to be my story. I knew that couldn't be my story. I knew that wasn't it. So now I made a decision. I made the decision that, for me, I did at least, that I needed to do something different, that I was going to probably have to go home. Now, all my friends in California, and I love everybody, they were all like, Davi, come back to LA. There's tons of doctors here. My girlfriend, Barbara Cafaro, was contacting Scripps and seeing if they could help me out there. Everybody was contacting doctors around and hospitals and seeing what they can do. And again, my uncle was doing his due diligence and seeing what we needed to do. But now thank you so much for sharing. Oh, thank you, Trish. I appreciate you. Now I'm devastated. Now I'm scared. But I knew that I had to do something different. I knew that I wasn't staying in Vegas for sure. We just had the fires in Los Angeles. I knew I couldn't go back there yet because there was still ash falling from the sky, like just everywhere. So I knew that something was, what was I going to do? My friends were like, come to San Diego. We'll help you there. We'll take care of you. Come to our homes. I have so many people that love me, that are so thoughtful in my life, that said, come to our home. Come stay with us. We'll take care of you. But what I knew at that point, guys, I knew that it was time for me to go home. And home was time for me to go home to Chicago. Time for me to come back. I own a home here. My family, I was blessed to inherit my family's home. So I knew that it was time for me to go back to what home really was. I knew that I had some people I hadn't seen for years. Some people I hadn't seen for so many years. I didn't tell a lot of people. I didn't put anything on social media because I'm not really the person that I'm sharing this a year later, because I'm sharing a story of survival. But I didn't put on social media, please pray for me. Because being quite transparent, and I don't want to sound ungrateful, but for me, I don't always know how people are praying or who they're praying to or what their beliefs are. And no disrespect to that, but I just didn't know. Hey, thank you, Renee. I just didn't know. So I said, okay, it's time to go home. I'm going to keep this to myself for right now. I knew it was going to be very expensive for me to come across country with all my things to get my things shipped. I needed to transport my car, which I mentioned, Evergreen Shipping. I love you guys. Thank you. They said, guess what? That's going to be our contribution to your fight. Thank you. We'll always remember that. They were always my favorite anyway. But the fact it was done, they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to. My girlfriend, Barbara Cafaro, made herself my executive planning crew head. She helped me plan my move with every detail of that move for me to get home. Every single detail for me to come home, Barbara Cafaro helped me with. She called every hospital with me. She gave me times of the day that I needed to be. Now I'm in the hospital. She's saying to me, you're in the hospital anyway. You might as well start making some calls. I was still weak. I was like, girl, what do you mean? She was like, you're laying there. What else are you doing? She didn't say it in a mean way. First of all, what she was doing, when I look back on it now, make sure my hair is good. When I look back on it now, is that she wanted me to get out of my own head. She wanted me to think about something different other than what was happening. Sometimes, what we have to do is be our loved ones' voice of reason. We have to be our loved ones' caregivers, even if it's over the phone. She was in San Diego. They kept me in the hospital until February 25th. So I was there for 20 days. I think I got out actually on the 26th. They kept me there until, no, it was the 25th, guys, 25th. And they let me out. So I've been there for 20 days. I get out the hospital. I'm so weak. I'm so weak. I've been diagnosed with lung cancer. I'm devastated. Now I have to think about going home. I thought I was going to go back to California after Vegas. I love Cali. Sunshine, blue skies, no snow, no snow. So I thought for sure I'm going back to Cali. God said something different. It's time for you to go back to Chicago. Now the doctors told me because of the blood clots that I couldn't fly and I couldn't ride on a train for at least 2 weeks, a little bit over 2 weeks. I think they said I needed to have 20 days or something like that. But I end up leaving and coming back on the 15th. So I arrived on the 15th. I was on a train for 2 days. Now I'm back at my friend's house. I'm not strong enough to walk my dogs. I'm feeling devastated. While we had been in Vegas, Basquiat had been sick. Basquiat was my chihuahua that I'd had for 12 years, my ride or die, my sweetheart. I get out the hospital. I'm out the hospital for 3 days. 3 days, just 3 days. And Basquiat dies. He'd had a little tooth infection while I was there, and my dear friend Carolee and Robert Rico wrapped their arms around me. They said, girl, you've got so much going on. I was sick prior to being diagnosed. So I was in the bed the majority of the time I was there. I didn't know what it was. Thought it was the flu or bad cold. Carolee and Robert said, we'll find a doctor for you to take Basquiat to. You just get Basquiat there. Don't you worry about a thing. I said, well, they said, no. We've already taken care of that. Don't you worry about a thing. It's storming like crazy here, guys. It's okay. Basquiat dies. 3 days out the hospital, my baby boy dies. I wake up, I see him there. I notice he's not moving. I call out his name. He doesn't budge. I had been keeping he and Duchess separated because Duchess was just starting her little adulthood. And I didn't want him to, any of the two, you know what I mean, guys. I don't have to get into detail about that. Basquiat is gone. I realized when I called his name, he wasn't there. He was gone. Now I'm devastated. I just got diagnosed with heart attack, blood clot, double pneumonia, lung cancer, and Basquiat dies. At this point, I felt like the rug had been pulled from underneath me. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was happening. But, I've been real strong. I've been thinking, Davi, whatever this is, you've got this. You can get through this. And now Basquiat's gone because Basquiat had been there for me when my grandmother passed. He crossed country with Miles and I 2-3 times. He was, for anybody that's a puppy lover out there, a pet lover at all, then you know what it's like when your baby, they're like your children. They're like your children. It's crazy because if you're not a pet lover, then you might not understand that. But if you have children, Duchess is nervous right now because it's storming. I don't know if you can hear it now, but she's nervous. My heart is racing. So fast forward, diagnosed with cancer, Basquiat passed, lung cancer, blood clots. Doctors tell me later the blood clots could have killed you. I didn't know anything about any blood clot. I never heard of anything like that for myself. I thought that was something that happened to older people only. I don't want to sound ridiculous, but that's what I thought. Now I start calling just my immediate circle to let them know. I reached out to my cousin. My cousin's in Spain. And I tell my cousin, while I was in the hospital, I said, I've been diagnosed with cancer. I'm going to have to get ready to go home. And she said, cuz, whatever it is, I'm going to stand by your side. We're going to do this together, whatever this is. Now, I want to say to you this story is not just about what happened with the diagnosis, because I'm going to fast forward a bit. It's not what just happened with the diagnosis. It's about what happened after the diagnosis. Again, my girlfriend, Barbara Cafaro, helps me plan to get home. My cousin says, don't worry about it. Find out what you need to get your things shipped. My brother flies out to Las Vegas and comes out with his friend Mike to come and transport my things. Mind you, things are insanely expensive to do all of this. And we're pulling all this together. My son is at home with my friend Alejandro preparing the house for me to make sure they got everything, because now my lungs are weak. So my lungs are weak and I can't have any dust anywhere. We had some carpet in some areas in our home. I'd had a tenant here in the house before. I had to rip up things and do. My son's here ripping up carpet. He's here making things are getting. I've got friends coming in to help him. Something had gone on with one of the toilets from the tenant. My friend Alejandro came in to replace it. I'm trying to they're here getting everything together for me to arrive. My uncle's keeping me off of a cliff. What do I mean? I mean emotionally. My friends in my small circle that I let know what was happening are keeping me off of a cliff because I'm devastated. God carried me through all of this. This story is about survival. This story is about resilience. This story is about reinvention. If you're out there right now and you're going through something, if you're experiencing something, I want this story to be for you. I want this story to be for my friend that was just re-diagnosed, who this is dedicated to. Hey, LaShawn, there's Amber. I just mentioned Amber. Thank you, Amber. I mentioned you for opening up your home and inviting me in. That's my friend, professional boxer. Opened up her home and said, you come here. I didn't know what was going on in my life. The market was crazy. I didn't feel well then. I didn't know she opened her heart to me. This story is about, yes, a woman who had a heart attack, a woman, blood clots. But this story is about survival. There's so much going on right now. There's so many people. Again, I mentioned we're in a war right now. My friend was just diagnosed, a beautiful friend with the initials of DM. Please pray for my friend. This show is dedicated to her. Thank you, LaShawn. My friends were taking me out to lunch when I got back. Oh my God, LaShawn took me out to great lunch, sharing a bunch of my girlfriend, Angie, who I'm going to share some photos of, was stood by my side the whole time, by my bedside, my family, my girlfriend, Vicky, my girlfriend, Merle, Denise, so many of you. I don't want to miss anyone's name, so I have a roll at the end of this that will have the names in to share some of the people that were there. But I will say that this is a time where I want to talk about resilience. And thank you, Amber, here. This is Amber. Thank you. She said, so proud of you. It's powerful to see you share your story of your journey and achievement. You're inspired. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. I just wanted to share some of the comments that are here. I love you guys. Hello there. Yes, to everyone. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to make sure that I did share some of these. Here, Margaret said, please share. Hey, guys, want to tell you this. To anyone that shares this the most time on their feed, I'm giving you a Davi Davenport Live t-shirt. So you have a t-shirt. I'll mail it out to you. Not even sharing it while we're live, but also sharing it when we're off the air, because I want, if someone's out there and they've been diagnosed with cancer, Andrea St. James, there you go. Oh, there you go. Oh, you are, Andrea. Well, guess what? We're going to work through that, sister. I know you're tired, baby, but don't you give up fighting. Don't you give up fighting. You know you've always been a fighter. Don't give up. This is the time in our lives where, you know what? We see what's happening around the world. The cost of living is higher than ever for me, almost. People are losing their lives. There's so much going on. LaShawn's praying. Yes, we're praying for you, Andrea. We're praying for you. Whole schools with young ladies, with girls, are being blown up and people are dying. People still are fighting through the loss of their homes for the California fires. But what I will say about my story is a story that's about people wrap their arms around me. To everyone at Northwestern Hospital, to my Dr. Dean Schroffnagel, you and Russell Pearl, Dr. Russell Pearl, will be part of my story forever. I will say this to you. This story today is about resilience. This story is about reinvention. This is about how do we support one another and align. See, the thing that this story taught me and my own story was I was scared. I was petrified. My faith has been carrying me. I still have so many things that are going on right now with my health that I'm working through. I had things that were still going on from 23 years ago that I worked through every day. I shared with you all that I self-catheterized because my bladder was damaged during, oh, there's Dr. Camilla Alfred there. I love you, Camilla. Camilla is my naturopath. She helps me with, and she was there to give me treatments and made me all kind of smoothies and beverages, showed me about fasting. She's the one that introduced me to alkaline water 23 years ago. She's someone that I love. What I want to say to everyone today, and thank you for joining me, if you're going through something in your life right now, let my story be Mike, the young man that came with my brother across country, 3 months after we got back, 36 years old, he has an asthma attack and he dies. After coming with my brother to get me, he dies. My story is about hope. My story is about unity. My story is about how do we support the people that we love? How do we also support people that we don't even know sometime with prayer? I'm reading a new book, guys. It's called The Circle Maker. I highly recommend that you get this book. It's about prayer and knowing how to pray a circle around things. I had to pray a circle around my life. I had to pray a circle around my life. My story today, and for all of you that join me, for all of you that share this, for all of you that are going to see this later, some people say, oh, I don't talk to people when I'm doing lives. I don't talk to them directly. I don't care what you do or don't do. I do. I'm going to talk to you. We're going to interact today together. If you're going through something right now, my girlfriend, Dr. Camilla Alfred, she healed herself from a stroke. The doctors told her she'd never walk again. They said she'd never talk again. She's walking, talking, and running her business. Heal thyself. To everyone that wrapped their arms around me, May 31st, everyone came to my house and we had a big party before my surgery. June 4th, I had half my lung removed June 4th. I'm going to share some pictures with you guys. I want to say thank you to everyone that stood by my side. Thank you for everyone that believed in me enough to say, we're not giving up on you. To the Love Church for standing by my side, to Park Manor Christian Church, to all of you, I love you. To my friends for making sure. So I'm going to tell you something because I have to be transparent. I have always been the person who has been the one to donate. And there's my girlfriend, Merle. I spoke about her earlier. I've always been the one to give back. I was so scared to do this, but I didn't have a choice because I knew I was about to have a big fight on my hands. I had already been being transparent. The market was soft. And I love you also, my sister. I love you so much. Oh, I love you, baby. And thank you for standing in the gap with me. I had to, and I'm being totally transparent, even saying it now makes me feel a little awkward. Isn't that crazy? I set up a GoFundMe. And I didn't, am I looking a little blurry there? I didn't put it on social media. I didn't broadcast. People said, let me share it on my page. I said, no, I don't want that. I only sent it to people that I knew were interested in my survival. Now, somebody else said, you know so many people, you've helped so many realtors, you've done so many things, no, that was my job. And when I tell you that my immediate core group showed up and showed out for me, it was amazing to see the support Now, I've been in Chicago for a year. I'm not in the real estate industry here yet. I'm not doing any of that. My bills kept rolling in thousands of dollars every month. All that kept going. Fortunately, I was blessed with insurance, so my medical responsibilities are taken care of, but I had everything else going on. I still do. People wrapped their arms around me. People donated. My family jumped in. My cousin said, don't worry about that transportation. We're going to get that truck. My girlfriend said, don't worry about it. We're going to get you a private car on the train. My girlfriend Merle was steady. What do you need? I wake up in the morning. Something extra was there. My girlfriend Denise, my girlfriend Vicky, I'm waking up. People are bringing food to my house, groceries to my house. People are bringing me things. People were stood in the gap with me. My girlfriend Angie made sure she and her husband Tony were bringing me just big buckets of food and cooked food and things. I couldn't eat everything. Angie went to the hospital with me when I had my surgery with my brother. She got to the hospital before we did. I didn't tell everybody I was having surgery. I wasn't ready for that. The people that came to my house for my party on the 31st were the ones that lived in Chicago and that meant the world to me. And the people that couldn't make it because of work and everything, but we had they sent me off for my surgery. We prayed a circle around me. The circle was so strong that my girlfriend Sharon's husband, he said his prayer, the chandelier, the light in my hallway that was perfectly screwed tight, dropped to the ground. To my friends that prayed for me that day, do you hear me? The light dropped to the ground. That's how strong the prayers were in my house. I knew I was going to be okay. So today, guys, my story that I'm sharing with you is about hope. To my friends that helped me unpack. Lewis helped me unpack my whole house. My friend Franklin, my neighbor I just met, helped me put fans up. Yolanda, her brother, helped me put air conditions in that my girlfriend Denise sent over. I can't think of all the help that people gave me. When I lost my dad, you guys rallied around me again, rallied around my brother and I. We lost my cousin during this year. When we lost my father, I realized just how much support we had, that I had for sure. My brother has a ton of it as well. He has a big family also on his mom's side, huge. But when I tell you that I realized how much love I had, people say, oh, a lot of people like Davi. No, a lot of people love Davi. You have posers out there. I don't worry about that. I don't pose and I don't worry about posers. I still pray for everyone. So today, guys, I'm emotional there for a second. Today, guys, I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you that stood in the gap with me. Thank you for all of you that continue to stand in the gap with me. Thank you for opening your door. When you opened your door, I shared about my friend that opened her door when I needed to come from LA. I didn't even know what was going on. I was leaving because of the fires. The market was soft. I knew I needed to do something different. She opened her home. See, I'm always going to reinvent myself no matter what. People call me, my girlfriend Denise said, girl, one thing about you, you're the reinvention queen. I didn't know what exactly this story was going. We never know the end because the end is the end and I'm still living every day. But what I do know is that I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. Oh, look at Camilla. Camilla says she's all about love and she has many testimonies. Yes. Camilla used to have me praying. She had quite a few businesses and farms and everything. And sometimes we'd go pray over large groups of people. And then she'd pray over me. I love you also, LaShawn. Thank you. And to Jewel, let Jewel know that I'm praying for her. She just lost her mom. That's one of the biggest losses ever. And thank you, LaShawn came out and helped me decorate the room with my father for my father's repast. She came out, she had to work. She ran out and helped me do it before she went to work. The kind of people I have in my life. I love you all. Today was about my love for you. That's what today was about for real. It was about my love for you. I was like, what am I going to put on? I'm like, okay. Here's another thing to tell you all this, tell you a little secret. Chicago is not warm all the time. So I was walking on the beach. Your girl picked up a couple pounds. but it feels good. My doctors told me that means that I'm thriving and not to worry about it. But 13, they said, don't worry about that right now. Your body's healing. We need that, and that's okay. So I sit here before you as a woman who's a survivor, a proud mother, proud family member to my uncle, standing in my corner, my cousin, my son, and all of you out there, all of you that have been there for me. You just, all my friends, everything you've done for me. I can't thank you enough. There really aren't any words to express the gratitude that I have for what you did. I have some pictures that I'm going to share with you that are from some of these. So stand by. I'm going to throw a overlay here so that I can show you some of the photos as we're chatting. And here we go. So this was, and I know that I'm just going to show them to you raw like this because, hey, soon I'll have a crew that'll work with me. Because let me tell you guys a goal so we can all pray over this. Oprah Winfrey left a throne open, a seat. She left the seat open, and I want that seat. Davi Davenport Live is about positivity, and I think that right now we need a show that's on the air on a regular basis. So if you know somebody out there, tell them Davi Davenport is that person. There's a lot of great shows out right now. There's so many people that I admire that are on the air that are talk show hosts. They're great. It's not about one or the other. It's not about that. I don't think that. I'm number one. I think that I am blessed with a voice that I'm able to relay positive information. I've had the chance to help young people with so many youth, thousands of young people over the years to introduce them to the media world. I want to take this to the next level. We need it right now. We have so much. There's so many people that are going through so much that need to turn on the television and hear a voice that's inspiring them. We don't need fighting on the screen. We need loving and caring. When I was a kid coming up, we could watch television together with our family members because it was so positive. But I'm going to share with you all a few pictures. I mentioned about me laying them over me in the background versus me having a backdrop to drop them on. So I'm just going to put them on here and share these with you. Okay, so here we go. This is when I was first in the hospital. This was the oxygen mask on my face. I looked a mess. This is me in the bed. You know, I had that sunglasses. My girlfriend bought that wrap that put over my face that said, I slept with that on my eyes. I wore my glasses the entire time. Look how I look. Look at that, devastated. Somebody might say, you can't show those pictures. Yes, I can. Look at this. They were blowing veins and everything. This is when my brother and Mike came to get me. That's Amber. And she stood on top of a chair because she said, you all not going to be taller than me. This is when we got the truck. My friend Lucky helping them load up the truck. My brother getting everything in. My brother said, you need to get rid of some of this stuff. There's Mike, rest in peace. There's my car being towed off with Evergreen Shipping. Thank you. This is me on the train. That's me arriving in Chicago on the train. Now, this is crazy right here. This is my car in the snow. When I got here, I was in shock. Can you believe that it was still snowing in March? Duchess in pure shock. Some of my first visits to, I was starting to feel better, but I hadn't had my surgery yet. Some of my first visits to Northwestern, still keeping myself pepped up. They said here they wanted me to test my lungs to see how strong I was. It's my brother taking me to my hospital visit. My surgery day. Look at me, hospital visit. This is my doctor standing over telling me what's getting ready to take place. This is me in the bed, nervous. She was telling me I was so petrified. That was the anesthesiologist. This was part of the mass that they took out. This was the mass, and then they took out half the lung, I should say, but that's the mass that they removed. This is me in shock. My uncle standing by my bedside there. My brother holding my hand. I had a picture of Angie and my brother there. Where is the picture that I had of Angie and my brother? Oh my God, I don't see it. I had Angie and my brother standing by my bedside also. I'm so sorry, Angie, if you're tuning in right now that I done it, but Angie she arrived there first, maybe when I cropped that one down. This is my son standing by my bedside when I was laying there. My doctor, Dr. Dean Schroffnagel, and I, that was for a post-visit. My dad on his 87th birthday, which we got a chance to celebrate him. Me and visiting my father when I was getting ready for the surgery. My father there when they took him away on October 31st. My mother and father who are now in heaven together. And this is your girl now. So guys, I want to tell you, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Thank you so much for being a part of my story. Thank you for so much for loving me, for caring for me, and for being there for me. There are no words that I can say to express my gratitude if I didn't mention your name, if I didn't share what you've done for me. It's not, I only had an hour, but it wasn't because you weren't there for me. To all my friends, my loved one, my family. My cousin Becky lost her son within this year. My cousin Omar. My prayers are with him. My brother's grieving heavily right now. And I know that his heart is shattered because I know what that type of pain feels like when your number one person is gone. I know that. But I'll tell you one thing for sure, guys, and this is for certain. That with God, anything is possible. With people that love you in your life, like all of you, like people that love me, that loved me, that got me here today. For all of you, thank you. Thank you. Renee, thank you. You're so sweet. You are too, princess. Thank you. You know, when I went out to see, and then I'm going to get ready to share with you what's coming for our next show. But when I went out to Dunbar High School and I went to WGN with my girlfriend, Tay Renee, we call her. But when I went out with her to see, and I went to see what she's doing with Chloe's Closet, that she's giving clothes to young people for free. She has a store, everything's free for the kids. When I saw and I was invited into the community, the heart transplant community, and I saw people fighting for their life and their families by their sides while they're fighting in this beautiful community of people. Think about getting your heart transplant. My brother Donald, my dear friend Donald, was supporting me right after having his heart transplanted. He was calling me daily. My girlfriend Deborah, who fights with people, with families with autism. When I think about that, when I think about what that means. So I love you guys. You mean everything to me. Shout out again to my boy Farley for giving me some opening music. He said, you're going to have you some opening music. You all are my hearts. Barbara Cafaro planned every detail of me coming back home. I needed an accountability partner. When Amber went with me to take Basquiat, to take him to the morgue, and I didn't want to let him go. And she said, after 2.5 hours of sitting there with me, very gently, you're going to have to let him go, Davi. So guys, I love you. Wrap your arms around one another. Wrap your arms around one another. It's your girl, Davi Davenport of Davi Davenport Live. This show is about resilience. This show is about faith. This show is about positivity, reinvention, being who you want to be. I told you, I want that seat Oprah had. I don't want hers. I want mine. People say, what are you going to do now? And I'm sure I'll be into my business partner, Sean Kilman, who's holding it down for me out in LA. Of course, I'm going to do real estate. I'm going to do it here in Chicago also. But I'm also going to create a show. This show's been around for 20 plus years. Some people think it's new. It's not new. DABI Radio Los Angeles, to my boy LA Lim, back on the airwaves. Lim said, Davi, we need to get back on the air. I was fighting for my life. But guess what? While I was fighting, all of you were there. So I love you so much. LaShawn said it's yours. Are we claiming it? In Jesus' name, we are claiming it. To everyone that tuned in today, I can't thank you enough. To all my Love Church family for wrapping your arms around me, for being there for me, for my sister Vicky. Vicky's like, girl, listen, you better make sure always, every day, calls me every single day. Every single day she calls me. Every single day she calls me to ask me how am I doing. Every day. A text, a call, I didn't get you, I can't reach you. She made me share my location. I don't even do that with. And here's another thing. I mean, have a little fun out there. You know, your girl's back in the dating world. No, I'm just kidding. But what's great is that I'm in Chicago now. My friends have been like, I want to introduce you to somebody. But we also talk about that on the show. We're going to talk about that on the television show. So stand by, guys. I love you. I want to thank you so much. It's your girl, Davi Davenport. For anyone that hung out with me the whole time, I see we've had a packed house the whole time. Here's the show. Here's the song that my dear friend wrote for me. And I also want to let you know that next week, please join me on the 22nd. I have my dear friend, Ashonia Scott's going to be joining me here from Essie Marie's Dressing. She talks about a story of resilience. She created a brand, Essie Marie's Dressings, during a time of caring for her sister who was living a challenged life. She was and lost her sister. And during that whole time, she still stood. She was steadfast on her journey. The shows that I bring to you are shows that are going to inspire you, shows that are going to uplift you, shows that are going to, I want them to motivate you to do something new in your life. Maybe start that business. I said, Circle Maker, get the book. Maybe start that business. Maybe write that book. I love you guys and thank you so much. Here's again, I want to share this with you before we go. I love you, Farley. I needed this also. Look at this, guys. I needed this one. I'm going to play it while I'm on.
Davi Davenport Live Show.
We had fun today, guys. I love you all. Thank you so much to everyone that was here with me today. I want to thank you. You mean the world to me.
It's time for the Davi Davenport Live. Davi Davenport Live Show. Davi Davenport Live. Davi Davenport Live. It's time for the Davi.
You guys, until next time.
Davi Davenport Live.